He's got no style. He's got no grace. This Kong has a gun that shoots grapes. You've seen the thumbnail, you've read the title, and if you're around my age, you probably play the game. It's a game that outsold Ocarina of Time on its release. It's a game that features one of Nintendo's most popular franchises, and it is, without a doubt, the most racist video game ever made. The game in question is none other than Donkey Kong 64. This seemingly innocent video game features a wide variety of derogatory racial stereotypes that are more than just an accidental oopsie daisies, Kyle tripped and put in another KKK reference. I have spent weeks researching this game, and I'm going to tell you everything this game does wrong, why it's wrong, and how they were intentional inclusions by a handful of developers at Rareware Studios. As uncomfortable as this is to say, coming from mayonnaise personified, Donkey Kong 64 relies heavily on the stereotypical images of black people being compared to monkeys. I can't believe I have to put that in my script. Oh my god. This is an unfortunate age-old stereotype dating all the way back to 15th century Europe, as evidenced by the literature around this time and the racist memes they'd share over Discord. So you would think, when Rareware Studios was approached by Nintendo in the late 1990s to create a follow-up sequel by one of the most financially successful franchises featuring anthropomorphized apes and monkeys, that they'd be delicate with the imagery and potential negative stereotypes that could be associated with the characters in the game and avoid any form of the health bar's watermelons. They made the fucking health bar watermelons. How does someone not get fired for this? No, seriously, because you have to go out of your way to make your health bar not lives or HP or health, but the second most racist thing you could possibly think of. For those on the know, watermelon has been closely tied to the imagery surrounding the black community, as it was seen as a symbol of their emancipation during the Civil War. But it was then turned into more of a derogatory slur moving forward throughout the years. But what makes this such a questionable inclusion is that in no other Donkey Kong game have they ever used watermelon to signify health. Ever. This means developers deliberately broke the mold of not only video game tradition up until this point, but the franchise's own formula for a feature that adds nothing to the game. Now, in this Donkey Kong universe, they try to explain the watermelon acting as a health bar throughout the lore and... Excuse me one moment. Yellow. Oh, what's that? Oh, you mean there's not a single piece of evidence or lore in the entire game that explains its existence? What do you mean no, you're just calling about my positive HIV results? Don't call this banana again. The health bar being watermelons adds nothing to the game while only taking on a massive amount of risk in which tens of millions of dollars are concerned with marketing and the success of their title. So why on earth would they add that in the game? We'll come back to that later. Some people might contrast this observation by saying that monkeys also still like watermelons. But you know what else monkeys like? Bananas.
That shit is bananas.
Alright, that's one example. Let's now look at the most obvious thing and just get this out of the way right now. The DK monkey rap.
Here we go. He has no eyes. Which to see his every baby go into this he has no mouth and he wants to.
On the surface, it's a hilarious song and fun inclusion to the game, being the most memorable part of it, despite it being the tackiest thing I've ever seen in a video game ever since Jurassic Park had you looking down at your tits to gauge your health, which is still a better health bar than fucking watermelons. But oddly enough, it's not the song that's the issue here, more the context surrounding its creation. The rap song was created by director George Andreas, who also wrote and sang the song. It's reported that the idea for the song popped into his head during a casual lunch meeting between him and two other devs, an in-joke that led itself into the very beginning of the game. The developers cite their inspiration stemming from the massive rise in rap and hip-hop in the late 90s. And who were the most popular people leading this front? It wasn't Eminem, alright? It wasn't just him. So now, joking around on their lunch break, it's now the most hilarious idea to have a rap song specifically made for monkeys, as opposed to any of the other characters they've been working on during this time period. Which was a lot. Like a lot. It's this association that's quite telling of the developers' own imagery they hold towards their characters, which calls into question the innocence of everything else wrong in this game, especially the guns. Throughout the Donkey Kong franchise, guns have been completely absent up until Rareware pulled the trigger on making it a staple feature, even creating an entire deathmatch multiplayer around it. Okay, nothing racist about that. But before he had his cute little coconut gun that fires in spurts, Donkey Kong had a real-life 12-gauge fucking shotgun. If he shoots, yeah? You're gonna die! It's clear between the rap song and the firearms that Rare is going for a much more gang-oriented image with the themes of their characters. And it was this design that clashed so hard with the game that when Miyamoto flew all the way out to Rare Studios to give the final okay on the production, he was reportedly shocked in horror at the sight of the Donkey Kong characters holding such realistic firearms. Hey, Rare, we can't just put guns in an E-rated game.
Right, yeah, of course.
On the spot, Miyamoto had them stop and sketched out the design of the coconut gun, which would then serve as the template for all the other weapons of the game. Okay, so crisis averted, except, oops, they accidentally gave this goofy motherfucker a gun that shoots grapes. Okay, just so I don't have to cover this again, here's a tier list of all the fruit you can and cannot have in a monkey-oriented game. Fuck! This is a classic black stereotype trope that could have been just so easily avoided by using strawberries, peaches, apples. This is the stuff of public relations nightmares, and it gets even worse. The entire premise of the game revolves around you breaking your friends out of prison who were wrongfully put there by King Gabriel's police force. You have to collect gems or bling to charge your power-ups. Cranky Kong repeatedly calls DK lazy throughout the game. Chunky Kong can be seen wearing this. Candy Kong is seen looking like a stripper, making sexual innuendos and flirting with all the other Kongs in the game, despite being Donkey Kong's girlfriend. I guess that's not really racist, she's just a fucking bitch. And to top it all off, the final bonus barrel of the game is titled This, which feels just like a shitpost at this point. Now, before we get into the more grisly side of this video where we break down the deliberate intentions of the Rare devs, you may be thinking that I'm just overreacting here and that I'm just being a little too sensitive to these themes. But don't take my word for it. I called in one of my best friends who's African American, and I simply asked him to get his feedback on a couple of slides from a game. He has zero context of what I'm about to show him. All he knows is that it's going to be used for a video. So let's see his reaction to it. Hey Lando, what's going on?
Yo, what's up, man?
So Lando, I'm gonna get your reaction on a series of slides. I just want you to tell me what you see. I know you have no context of this, don't worry. I'll explain it all after. So are you ready? Here's slide number 1 for you.
Why is he shooting grapes, bro?
What else would he shoot?
Like, rocks? Like what?
We're just gonna simply move on to the next slide here.
Okay. What, bro? Okay, bro.
What do you see in this slide here?
It's an ape in a disco fit, bro. Like,
Let's go ahead and move to the third slide here.
alright, bro. Oh shit. Alright, an extra melons? Okay. Come on. What the fuck is this like, bro? Like, what's up with her, bro?
What's your impression of this female individual?
She very expensive.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to the fourth slide here.
What the fuck? What? What? What is it? Watermelons, bro? Tell me that's a clock, bro. Tell me that's a clock.
We have one more simple slide for you.
I don't know if I want to see the last one. Okay. Crazy comments. Oh my god! The bomb, bro. Oh my god, Malcolm X didn't die for this. He didn't die for this. Like, what is going on?
This was actually developed by a British team in London.
Oh my god! What? White people?
Would you agree that the imagery on screen was innocent, or would you describe it as something else?
This is racially motivated. I am upset and disgusted. What the fuck?
Okay, so I think it's pretty safe to say that this isn't just me. But where does all that get us? How does all this evidence show the developer's intent? And more importantly, who's responsible for their inclusions? Anyone researching Donkey Kong 64 will find little of its development, and even less about its developers. Aside from a handful of wikis, press releases, and brief interviews where the devs seem to rather talk about any other game besides DK64,
I need you to get me out of this.
there's not a lot out there. I even scrolled through the social media of every known developer of this game, despite most of them having no presence online whatsoever. But as we all know the saying goes, wherever there's smoke, there's fire. Taking a second look on Rareware's development team, something caught my eye. If you scan over Rareware's list of releases, you'll notice one game here is unlike any of the others. Conker's Bad Fur Day, a children's game gone completely rogue, and one of the only games to receive the infamous mature rating from Rare. Its notoriety stemming from its crude adult humor, pop culture references, expletives, innuendos, something completely unseen by any other game until this point. What started off as another E-rated formulaic collectathon, everything changed when one dev added in a funny punchline to a side mission. A joke that granted them full creative freedom to do whatever the hell they wanted to in this game. Word spread throughout the office, and the game devolved quickly into a jungle-juiced potluck, with each team in the studio contributing their own dirty jokes, trying to outdo the other. If you've ever been in a Discord call, you know exactly how this goes.
Speaking of which, I have one of those now, so definitely stop in and say hi.
And sure enough, with each team trying to one-up the other, that's when the KKK joke appeared. It's not known what the joke was, as it was kept completely under wraps from the public, but Chris Seaver, one of the lead developers, let out that there was a whole cutscene involving the KKK that Nintendo explicitly wanted removed. So tell me, how does a tight-knit team of developers, clearly versed in stereotypes, history, and pop culture enough to write a humorous satirical cutscene involving the KKK, plead innocent to everything, hell, anything in DK64? Well, the short answer? Well, see, even though we know this was a studio-wide endeavor, we'd still need proof to show that the DK devs worked on Conker's Bad Fur Day. And sadly, that's where the trail goes cold. At least, that's what I would say if we didn't have the fucking credits! And wouldn't you know it, cross-referencing both games, there are matches littered out through both of these titles. Even Greg Malis, the creator of Banjo-Kazooie, was involved with Conker's creation, and he had arguably one of the most significant roles within DK64. He was even one of the voices for the DK rap. Obviously, a KKK joke isn't inherently racist, but the same people who wrote, animated, and voiced it were also the same developers on Donkey Kong 64, and said nothing about all of the racial stereotypes present in that game. Even the co-founders of Rareware itself, Chris and Tim Stamper, were involved in the oversight of both of these games, and again, gave green lights to everything out of place in DK64. Which makes the presence of this image so befuddling. All of the bonus barrels of the game feature alliteration, so when it came to the Ks, how the fuck did no one think that maybe having 3 Ks back to back might not be the best optics for the company? And then they go ahead and do it again! Like, what the fuck?
That's bad business. Don't do that.
But what's even crazier is that this wasn't just Rareware. Donkey Kong received a marketing budget of over $22 million in the 1990s. Corporate dollars like this aren't spent without excruciating scrutiny from suits, board members all over the world. Global heads of North America, Europe, Japan, each with their own teams sign off on these ad campaigns, yet no one, not a single executive, found any issue with the stereotypes in this game.
Wait, hold up, time out. I call bullshit. What about South Park or The Boondocks or like Grand Theft Auto? They all feature these same things, but all of a sudden Donkey Kong's the one that's racist.
But the difference here is that these pieces of media can use sensitive imagery with distinct purpose, enhancing the content and even potentially destigmatizing it. Themes like this, presented in their rawest form, reveal their absurdity, enriching the content they're a part of, instead of just monkey rapping, monkey like watermelon, monkey like boobs and shit done. Now, with all that in mind, do I think these devs deserve canceling? Hell no! This game was made in a bygone era like 20-something years ago when advertisements looked like this.
No, let's save that for when we're selling real estate.
Times change, and so do the people. But Jesus Christ, don't expect a remake of this game anytime soon in this climate. But before you go, I've got a little something special for you. Do you want to hang out with me and others in our special channel on my public Discord? Patreon.
Do you want to talk to single YouTubers in your area?
And maybe have your name written in permanent ink on my painted M? Patreon. Well, for just a measly $5, I can make all of your Patreon dreams come true.
What's that? Crippling inflation has completely devalued that of the US currency?
Well, for just 10 of those little shits, you get to have your very own say in what videos and live streams I'm doing. Videos and live streams. Even my own mom recommends it.
Patreon.
And for those with a little bit more cash, I've got a secret Patreon tier for the most juicy reward out there. And
oops, I'm so clumsy. I accidentally lowered the prices by 10% on everything on my Patreon for the first week to celebrate its release.
10% off for the first week of its release. services are subject to price change without notice. Some assembly required. AA batteries not included. This service and/or product may contain chemicals known to the bitch-ass state of California to cause cancer. Thank you for everyone for just even making it this far in the video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!